Welcome to another video. Yesterday I told you to learn the Tock jazz move. And if you did, I promised you that I would show you how to do that in the Boogie step. Now the Tock is a very flat move. You go, it's hard to really bounce much. You can, but it is going to be easier if you don't. So let's pretend that it's a completely flat move, that when we do a Tock, we want to move without any bounce. Now normally in Boogie we have a lot of bounce, meaning that to switch to the Tock, we will do so we flatten, and in any move where you flatten your bounce, even if it's just you need to be sure that you start bouncing again after the flattening. So remember that for everything you do today is to, after flattening your bounce, once you start doing the basic again, make sure you start bouncing again. So how do we do the Tock in the Boogie step? Now for the leaders this is actually easier than for the followers to actually do in the dance, because it's easiest done after a rock step. That means that if the leader kind of wants to give the follower the opportunity to use it, doing a stretch lead with a big stretch, nearly a Lindy-like stretch, so that the follower can actually start with a rock step, will let her do it. Of course, that means followers that usually you kind of have this in the back of your head to use at such times if you want to, but there are other ways to do it as well. Let's start with the leader, and the follower is the opposite at this time. We can do rock, step, angling our foot inwards, open. So that's 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. So for the follower, that's just the opposite. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. 1, 2, 3, and 4, triple step. So switching one triple step is usually the easiest here. And it's usually easiest to switch the middle one, because the Tock goes sideways, and at the second triple you usually want to have a stretch. So how would I use this as a leader? If I'm leading, I could use it in a change of places or in a side pass. Let's say I have a right side pass, I want the follower to go on my right side. I would do rock, step, angling my foot as much as I can, and of course leading her forward. Rock, step, triple step, triple step. It's a bit hard to see how it will work without a follower, but what you will realize when doing that is that it's easy, especially if you do the change of places, to leave very little room for the follower. So make sure, leaders, that your Tocks are small, or that you, at least once you start giving her room, actually angle your upper body to give her the normal space, even though you're busy Tocking away. That means, as it's small, this is not a step variation where kind of there's something big happening with your feet. No, it's not that big. It's actually visible mostly because you flatten the bounce. It's kind of bounce and flatten and bounce, bounce and flatten and bounce, 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 bouncy, bounce, bouncy, bounce. 1, 2, flatten and bounce. That goes for the follower as well. Your follower or your partner will notice this change in bounce, and that's okay. They may want to do something with that, or well, first time they will be surprised. So you need to kind of, if you do this in a social dance, you need to pay attention to your partner if they answer, if they do something else. Something that's quite easily can happen is if your follower starts going around you in an open side pass, is that you start doing 1, 2, 3, flatten your bounce, start doing this. She might start doing the same, and at that point you can go around each other or whatever using the TikToks. Pay attention to your partner. The TikTok is going to change your bounce, it's going to change your leading. That might affect what your follower does. If you don't want her to notice, you have to practice not communicating that flat thing through your hand. That's going to be way too much to practice solo, so they worry about getting the steps right, because that's hard enough. So leaders, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Followers, you are being led straight forwards. Now, if the leader gives you a rock step, and let's say he does a change of places and you want to do this, it's the same thing as for the leader. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And of course my hand will be going up and so on. Followers, you know this, I don't. The trick is to replace the middle triple. And you should experiment, because some people prefer one thing, some prefer the others, and one thing may work in one move but not in another. To make sure you can start the TikTok either here or here. In some moves you may find that your legs end up like this, or more like this, and then you can start there. If you end up open, you start there. It's going to take a bit of practice, and then a bit of preparation. So for today, practice first in place, then maybe moving around, pretending you're led or leading, a change of places, a side pass, and see how you can make it work to replace the middle triple step with the TikToks. Then when all this coronavirus thing is over and you can try with a partner, you're going to find out that it needs some adjustment probably. That's okay, because if you practice the steps, at least you won't have to think about doing them right. You can think about how far you're moving, how you're twisting your body, how you're bouncing when you have a partner. So for now, we want it into the feet. It's basically leaders, 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. And followers, either 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6. Rock, step, and 3, and 4, triple step. For the side pass for the follower, it's going to be a bit harder because you go the other way. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now your weight is such that you want to do a leader's triple step. You can either do that, triple step and 1 on the next one to switch your feet. Or you can use the tick-tock a bit more. So you get 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 5, 6, 1, 2. There are variations there. I think for the follower it's easiest to do in a change of places, at least if you're only going to replace the middle triple. For the leader, as long as you're rock stepping and putting your left side forward, it's okay. The hard part is when your right side is forward for the leader. For the follower, opposite. So basically figure it out how you can do various moves. I'm messing about when I try the follower thing. That's because I don't really follow that much. For the leader, I find I can experiment and find out things that will work. However, it's hard because tick-tocks are actually, when you practice them, it's easy to kind of do them sedately. But if you're going to do a triple step move, even slow songs will feel very fast. If I try it to Wade in the Water, one, two, step, step, 1, 2, step, step, 1, 2, step, 1, 2, step. Even worse with the moving. 1, 2, 1, 2. A better way then to do another way to do the tick-tocks in a break would be to use them one on each beat. So it's not one, as in the triple step is 1 and 2, but instead we could do 1, 2. Doing the step like that, it would be a bit silly to do the step like that if we're just doing each triple step. Then it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's hardly a tick-tock. But if we do all of them to one side, it can be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Except now I'm on the wrong foot, so it's going to be and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2. That and 1, 2 is something followers do a lot, especially at higher levels. Leaders, we can do it too. Of course, we have to remember to do and 1, 2 because we're leading as well, so move your body. How would I use that then in a move? Well, would I? It's hard, but you can try it when you find the partner again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1, 2. For the follower, I imagine it would be similar. Let's pretend we're doing change of places with a stretch lead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2. Again, I'm not good enough at following for this. And of course, if you already know all of this well enough, then you can also just use it for a break. If you do 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5, and 6, sit down to tell your partner that we're doing a break. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 can be fairly leadable. Of course, if your follower doesn't catch the TikTok, she might just do something else. Or if you let go of her, she can do whatever she wants. You can use it as a jazz move in a break, as normal. That's a lot of rambling about the TikTok. I do find it interesting to try to work jazz moves into the basic step. I recommend you look at the TikTok. It can be used to replace triples. I have successfully done that during dancing. It can be used for breaks. I have successfully used that during dancing. And I think it can be used to replace both triples with a bit of practice, with the whole 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 1. But I have not tried that during dancing. Followers who tend to dance with me look forward to the coronavirus being gone. I am probably going to try this with you. And I am going to mess up badly. So, take that as an inspiration. Try to play with the TikToks and any other jazz move you like that may or may not work into the boogie. See if it can fit into the dance and see if you can imagine ways of using it in the basic patterns, in change places, side pass, and so on. It's a fun exercise, and if you move around, at least you get to practice those jazz moves, and you can never practice jazz moves too much. When going from the boogie step into a flat jazz move, make sure you start bouncing again afterwards. It's very, very easy to stop bouncing, and you should actually, it's easy to stop bouncing, but it's easier to not start again. And you should always start bouncing again when you go back to normal boogie steps. I hope that is more of an inspiration than it is a confusion, because that's it for today.